Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is it. This is the big one. Manchester United travelling to Elland Road in the Premier League. Joining me, as always, for the preview is Mr. Joe Smith. Joe, there's a hierarchy, right, of hatred at United.
Talk to me.
Yeah? I think the Scousers are at the top. Liverpool.
Right up there, yeah.
I think City a second.
Yeah.
But just on their coattails are Leeds United.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't like Leeds United. They are one of our historic rivals, one of our fiercest rivals. I mean, I know I say this is the big one before every game, but this is a huge game for United because it's against someone we don't really like.
There's a lot going into this as well, on and off the pitch. Also, we've got the added element of Manchester United dispatched Leeds pretty comfortably almost every time we played them for the 2 seasons they were up before this one. So there's going to be a little extra bit of needle where they've not really had a statement win against us in the best part of 20 years.
Yeah, I think it was the cup game at Old Trafford, I think was the last time you have to remember Leeds beating us.
So it's been a while, and in the league it's been a very long while. So they're going to be extra up for this. And you add to the fact, obviously, United are massively depleted in terms of squad, probably in terms of morale as well at the moment. Even though we're, 12 places above them in the league, it almost feels as though they're the ones going into this game with a bit of confidence, which is mad.
It is mad, and we'll get to Leeds in a minute. But let's just talk about United and this whole thing. New year, new me, as everyone likes to post on social media, even though it does my head in.
Yeah.
I feel like we say this almost every week with Ruben Amorim, but this does feel like it could represent a bit of a fresh start for him. You've got a new year. You've been here now for over a year. You go into Leeds. Yes, it's a difficult game, but if you get a result from them at Elland Road, people are going to say, right, okay, let's kick on from that. This gives you an opportunity to sort of, make some progress.
Yeah, it's a good game in that respect because you do get a bit of excitement if you win, but it's probably outweighed by the absolute horror show if we lose.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those games, even though we've not won enough recently, I know we've only, we lost 1 in 10 or something, but we've not won enough. But it's one of those where a loss is so much worse than a draw. I think if you go there and lose, it's an absolute nightmare for Amorim, and especially the most likely way you lose against Leeds and how they played at Elland Road is they outwork you, they shove you around, they put you on the floor, they win the duels, and they score a goal from a set piece or whatever it may be. That will look so bad on Amorim. Even with a depleted team, effort and work rate and hard work is the thing that you can always put onto a football pitch. If we don't do that, it's going to be a real problem for him, and I think a real problem for some of the players in the squad as well who do play. There's a lot of questions to be asked about the starting 11, but yeah, I think it's a big game for Amorim this, and as much as it's a fresh start, it could be we're into the new year, second half of the season as well. We've played 19 games. You want to see at least a continuation, if not an improvement over the first half. A loss at Leeds would be a massive sort of blow to that straight away, wouldn't it? So yeah, massive game this. What do you think?
No, I agree with what you're saying. Yes, if you're going to be sort of glass half full, it's a great opportunity, but also if you lose it, then people that have already sort of lost faith with Amorim are just going to, be less enthused, shall we say. And also the big problem there is losing at Elland Road, especially if we were to say it was a game where we didn't turn up, a lot of the match-going fans as well and people that are at that game won't be happy. If you start losing the match-going fans, it usually is as a signal of where you're at as a United manager. It means you're in trouble. So I don't want to get too carried away because we're only halfway through the season and we're still sort of in and around the mix for Champions League football, which is where we all hoped to be. Yeah. So I think it's a bit sort of premature to go, if he loses at Leeds, that's it, then he's done for. He's not. But what happens with a United manager is when eventually they leave, when they get sacked, let's be honest, unless they're Fergie or Busby or whatever, you look back and you go, okay, there was lots and lots of reasons that this happened leading up to this moment. Like you look at Jose Mourinho, the Sevilla game, or you losing the FA Cup final to Chelsea. In and itself, those 2 games aren't enough to get you sacked, but they add up. So by the time you lose at Anfield, you're done for. You look at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer losing the Europa League final, losing 5-0 at home to Liverpool. In and itself, those games don't do for you, but they lead up to it. Same with Ten Hag, 7-0 and all the rest of it. And I think if you were to lose at Leeds, if Ruben Amorim ends up leaving in the summer, you look back and go, that was one of the games that did for him. That's why it's so important. But it does represent an opportunity if he gets it right. Let's talk about the attack. We are going to win this game. We need some of our big name players, our big signings to turn up more than they did so against Wolves. I know they got some credit from people, and we were talking about some of the ratings that they got previously, but I thought Mateus Cunha and Benjamin Sesko, I don't think either of them covered themselves in glory against Wolves. That's not to say I don't rate them. I think they're both hugely talented players, and I've been impressed with certain games for him, but I don't feel like either of them have fully got going yet. Let's start with Mateus Cunha, because he was our first signing in the summer. He came with a big reputation. We'd seen what he'd done against United. He'd absolutely destroyed United at Old Trafford a couple of times.
Yeah.
We were all very excited. I think to a man on the channel, we all wanted the Reds to sign him. We got him very quickly, and it felt like, not a coup, because it wasn't like, oh, we've got Mateus Cunha, no one else came, but it felt like a good bit of business. Nice and quick and early, and a good player. Premier League proven, exciting, got a bit of an edge to him. All the things you love to see at Manchester United Football Club. We haven't really seen that consistently, have we?
No, I think that in the last few games as well, we've seen a little bit of desperation creeping for him.
Yeah.
I think he, especially with the injuries we've got and the AFCON players not being in the squad, there's an element of, you know, that kind of Bruno Fernandes, this is on me, I need to fix this, I need to win this game.
Yeah.
He has that feeling to him, and that at times makes him, what is already his play style of pushing it almost too far and then getting that touch past someone. Oh, that touch was a bit heavy, but the next touch was a shot that ended up going in the back of the net. He's always playing on the edge anyway. I think when you add that level of desperation to his game and the kind of pressure of you need to win us this game, it puts him across the line too often of you're just being a little bit sloppy. And I think that he needs to rein that in a bit, and I think the manager needs to speak to him, just not necessarily permanently, but go and have a chat with him and say, or have a chat with himself, he doesn't need to be the manager every time, and just say, we need to win games, and we need to do that by doing the right thing. Not by trying to score every time you get the ball, not by forcing stuff that isn't there. Play your game, take risks, because he always does. But I think there's just an element, as like I said, you see it with Bruno Fernandes, especially times over the last few seasons, where you think he thinks he has to win this by himself. And I don't think he does. And partly because we're going to come on to the next man in a minute, Benjamin Sesko, but also partly because it actually pushes his game into a sort of unstable, unmanageable version of himself, rather than that on-the-edge, risky play, which we all love, but we all know those sorts of players are on the edge for a reason. They can drop off the other side, and we've seen that too often in the last few weeks, I think. No,
you make a good point, and there's always that worry in there with Mateus Cunha. We saw it a couple of times at Wolves. He's not someone who's got loads of red cards, that's a myth, but he has got that edge where sometimes it can spill over into sort of diving into things you shouldn't and getting a bit aggy, and it doesn't always bode well for him. So we want to see him getting back to the play we've seen it at United at times as well. It's not like he's been a disaster since he come to the club. We just need to see him getting back to those levels we saw at Wolves, because he was such an entertaining, effective player there, and at the minute he's just been patchy and, like you say there, at times almost trying to do too much. I want players to have energy and effort at United. It's one of the criticisms I've had of this team is at times we seem a little bit too sort of lethargic and relaxed, and I want to see a little bit more edge to them. So I'm not criticising him for that, but he's just got to channel it in the right way. Sesko, I feel like there's more pressure on Benjamin Sesko. I feel like there's more questions around him. I know that there have been articles written about Mateus Cunha, and there's been a lot on socials, but Benjamin Sesko, I feel like with Cunha, you know he's Premier League class, you know what he can do. Yeah. With Sesko, it's like people are waiting to see if he's good enough for the Premier League.
And also with a player like Benjamin Sesko, we've got the numbers in front of us here. He made 9 accurate passes against Wolves. Cunha made 26. Yeah. So already there, he's got 3 times the opportunity to do something that isn't a goal, but still positively affects the game.
Yeah, I hear that.
Sesko is the sort of player that if he's not scoring, his interplay is good, his link-up play is good. I'm not saying he's terrible, but with 9 passes, you can't influence the game that much. No. So you have to do it by putting the ball in the back of the net. And I think there's 2 ways to look at, especially the last game, but I think his time at United generally is, if you want to be negative, you could say he had to score in that game. He's cost us 2 points by not scoring either the header at the back post where he hits the post, which he did well to get it, but when you're there, the ultimate way of doing well is putting it in the back of the net. Yeah. Or the header of the crossing from Casemiro, which straight at the goalkeeper, you've got to score. Again, if you wanted to be critical, the person he's replacing in Rasmus Højlund scored 16 goals in his first season. At the moment, Sesko is on course to score 4, which, again, I don't think that is the full story at all.
The Champions League he didn't give him goals. He had to score him in the Champions League, but
he had more opportunity to score goals. I think he played 51 games. So Joe, I get that.
If I'm just going to try and be kind to Sesko.
Well, that's the other half of it.
Sorry, go on.
So sorry, so the other half is he's getting in great positions. He had 0.56 XG in the last game, which people don't love XG, but it goes to show that he's getting the ball in good areas. And I think he's a good enough player that they will start to go in and he will start to score goals. And the fact that he's so involved in front of goal, even if they're not going in, is a good sign to me. But you do have to put it in. At some point, so often over the last decade, and we spoke about this earlier, you spend so often talking about, and we do this with managers, we do it with Amrim, we do it with all of our players to a certain degree. You look at a reason why, I get why he missed that. Oh, it was a bit of a tricky one. Oh, yeah, the goal was at the corner of his eye, so it's not easy. Rather than going, Jesus Christ, how has he scored that? I cannot believe he's put that in from there. That's what we used to say when we watched Man United. How has he done that? Now it's, I get how you've missed that. Because it's not dead easy, so fair enough. I want players to start shocking me with how good they are, rather than having to sit here and explain why someone hasn't quite done the thing they should have. I'm not saying that Sesko is past that by any means, and I'm happy that he's getting involved, but you've got to start scoring a few goals. You have to. If you're a Man United striker, for your own confidence, for your own future, for the fans, for everyone, for the manager, you need to start putting the ball in the back of the net at some point.
I agree, and I was just going to say...
Yeah, sorry.
No, because I wanted you to make your point. And you can answer this far better than I could. Do you think there's been a bit of a sort of an issue with a lot of big money signings that have come to the Premier League this summer, or this season, struggling? Because we've had a lot of big name players. I know we can all talk about Florian Wirtz and how he's been a disaster. And I watched the Liverpool game the other day and I just thought he was shocking. But also, Gyökeres hasn't really set the world alight. There's been, you can even argue, Ekitike, who started quite well and has had some good moments. I watched him the other day, Liverpool didn't do very well. He basically cleared one of his headers was like a defensive header. It just feels like a lot of these sort of big name players have come in and it's been a little bit of a struggle for them to really do what they were doing in the Bundesliga in particular.
It's hard, isn't it? It's hard to score a lot of goals in the Premier League. Look at some of the strikers who've scored a lot of goals in the Premier League last few seasons, or just players generally. It's not big names. Haaland is.
Yeah.
Salah is. But you look in that sort of echelon below them that are consistent. It's Ivan Toney's before he left. It's Mateta's. It's Cunha's, a Wolves player at the time. It's Brian Mbeumo, who's a Brentford player. Yeah. It's not big signings and big names. A lot of the times it's just people who get the league for whatever reason.
Yeah. And
sometimes you can learn that. But there's a real sort of echelon of strikers that you look at me and go, you're not a world-class player, but you go, fucking hell, 15 Premier League goals.
Yep.
Ollie Watkins maybe put him on that list as well. He's a sort of nicely well-rounded 7 across the board type of player, but he's not got anything where you go world-class.
No.
There is a bit of a lack of that, and I think sometimes when you try and bring in the big names and the big money, it doesn't always work straight away, and I think what we've been victim of in the past is not providing players with service and not giving players a chance to succeed. And I think we're giving that to Sesko, and I just want to see a little bit more from him personally.
I think that's completely reasonable, as always. Before we get to Predicts 11s, get your phone out and show us what we've got to do to be part of the pre-match build-up for the watch-along.
It's very simple, Jay. Just send in a 30-second prediction on your phone like this to the camera. Give us your score predictions for the game. How's it going to go? What's the game going to be like? And what will the score be? Send that to paddockmatchday@gmail.com. The link to that is in the description. If you can't remember it, just click it and send it over on an email, and you'll be featured on the watch along.
Good stuff. Right. Let's get into predicted 11s.
Let's do it.
And I believe me and thee have the same predicted 11. So I'll let you talk us through it.
Well, it's the team that started the last game.
Right. So we've heard from the manager, who said in his pre-match press conference that there's a couple of players that are gonna, he's gonna see him in training, see whether they're fit. But as it stands, I'm paraphrasing here, it looks like they might not be available. So you might end up with the same group of players available for the Leeds game that you had for the Wolves game. Yeah. So we've both stuck with the same team because of that.
I reckon you go through that team, there's a handful of players you wouldn't mind rotating or dropping, but you can't, because the alternatives are either the likes of Malacia, for instance, who just isn't as good as Dorgu, or they're youngsters who I think starting a game away at Elland Road is not really fair on them. I mean, and maybe Shea Lacey's the example. I think Jack Fletcher in the middle of the park, trying to be combative, getting chucked around, I think isn't the right thing to do. Lacey is potentially different because you put him out wide. He's slightly more able to show his positives without being in such a battle. But I would say across the board, someone like Xerxes, who obviously got brought off. For me, I think his performance, his lack of intensity, pissed the manager off. And we spoke about it. I think missing that header at the near post pissed him off as well. I think
me and you were speaking the other day, weren't we?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that you're the man stood at the front post to clear the ball if it goes short. That's your whole job. Read the ball, take a couple of steps back, side, whatever. You're a professional footballer. See the ball come in and get rid of it. Yeah. And instead, the ball comes to you at the near post and you flick it on to the back post to the waiting Leeds player to head it in.
Wolves player,
Wolves player, sorry. I'm already getting ahead of myself. And I think that pissed him off.
No, I agree.
Going in at half time at 1-0 is such a big difference to 1-1.
Yeah.
You don't want to be conceding against this Wolves team at all.
Because it was weird for me that he took him off.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I know he explained it, and he was sort of from a tactical point of view. You might say, well, if that was the case, if it was because of that, why didn't you just say it? Well, you're not likely to say, oh, he annoyed me because he didn't clear the ball for the corner.
Yeah.
But I think as a manager, when you're so meticulous as well and something like that, it could rattle you, it could frustrate you.
Yeah.
And it might not have been the only reason he was sort of frustrated with him that half, but that could have been one of the ones you're like, you know what? Just get him off.
And it would be annoying.
Yeah.
Because you're there for that job.
Of course.
And it's like, you're there to head it away. Oh, cool, it's coming to him. Great. I'm glad we put a player there because he's going to head it. Oh, he hasn't headed it.
And it wasn't like, unless I'm misremembering, and I remember at the time thinking it was a bit soft, and I've watched it since. It wasn't like he was stretching at full stretch and just couldn't just quite get his head to it, where you almost can't control it. It's like he kind of just went, oh.
Yeah. And if you can't, just take a bit of a step back and head it.
Yeah,
away.
it was poor.
Get more on it so that it's, goes up and beyond the back. It didn't do the job. And I feel a bit bad for Xerxes, but at the same time, as with any United player or any United manager, you've got to do things to maximise your chance of success. And people have had a lot of problems with Amorim for not doing that and his subs and all that, and I get it. And at times I do think he's put himself into trouble. But I think with Xerxes, I know your style is being languid, and I said this about Martial before he left. Just pretend it's not for this game. Just pretend that your style is tearing around like Jamie Vardy or Carlos Tevez. Just pretend you're Carlos Tevez for this week.
It's not even
happens.
Like you have to pretend. Do you remember? I know it was the dying moments of I think it was the game at the Etihad last season, where he came on and he just held the ball up well, and it was difficult to get it off him, and he was getting stuck in, and City players were getting frustrated with him because they were chasing the game, and it was literally like last 2 minutes, but it was effective. And you think, do more of that.
Yeah.
Just get stuck in. And I know it's proper basic, just get stuck in and fight more. And I know football's a lot more than that, but sometimes it is that. And also, you do need a bit of that.
And as a player, when that is your perceived weakness, then it's particularly important. If the criticism of you as a player is you look like you can't be arsed, you look like you don't want to get involved in and get stuck in, and you look like you're sort of half asleep, they're things you can fix.
Yep.
And maybe you're not going to be I don't want to change who you are as a player, all that. But I just think, come on, just go for it. Be sick on the pitch if you have to because you've fucking overdone it.
Yeah.
We'd love that. And obviously, it's not going to fix everything. It's not going to change who you are as a player. But the last thing you want to be is the one that is the lazy one. And whether it's true or not, if that's the perception of you, you want to do something to fix that personally. And I think I'd like to see that from Xerxes. Not to say that there wasn't a lot of players who didn't do enough against Wolves, by the way, but obviously he was the one that got subbed at half-time.
No, it's a fair comment. It really is. And it kind of makes sense when you talk about why the manager might have been frustrated with him, but still need him for this game. Let's talk about Leeds then, because pains me to say it, but they're actually on a decent run. They're not setting the world alight, they're still sat in 16th, but I think if you'd have asked most Leeds fans before the season started, if at the halfway stage, would you be happy with being, 7 points from safety? Or 7 points, above the drop? They'd have taken that.
6-game unbeaten streak as well.
Yeah, doing very well. And you look at some of those results, they've drawn with Liverpool twice. I know Liverpool aren't exactly in their best era, but they are the reigning champions. And also Liverpool have got their act together somewhat over the last month or so. So it's not a bad run. And if you want to go a little bit further, you can say that even the loss at Manchester City, actually they emerged a lot of credit from it because they made a real game of it. And at one point it looked like that game, I think they got it to 2-2 after being 2-0 down. It could have gone either way before City got the winner. So Leeds are looking like a Premier League team. They're looking like someone who belongs in the Premier League. And more often than not when they've got promoted, they haven't looked like that at all. I think they're going to be missing, is Ampadu, who's going to be suspended
I believe so,
for this game.
Dan James is out as well.
Dan James is out, which probably saves us a embarrassment if he scores against us. What to talk about Dominic Calvert-Lewin?
Yeah.
He's on fire, basically, isn't it? He's, I think he's, just before the Liverpool game, was it 6 games in a row he'd scored? Yeah. He'd broken all sorts of records for that club. Just looks like just effective, scoring goals when you need goals from him. Was a bit unlucky as well at Anfield because he was offside, but he got a goal, but it was offside. But it just shows he's getting in those positions and he's finishing, he's on it. We need to be on it, don't we? Because when you've got a player like that, who was also rested at Anfield, with the manager obviously having half an eye on this game, and he kind of said that, so they've got to rotate because they've got a game, in 3 days. He's a player to keep an eye on, isn't he?
Yeah, and just his little movements and little feints in the box and stuff. He runs across his man well. Everyone's seen that goal sort of pitch.
The heat map.
The heat map, that's it.
That goal pitch.
Where he scored. The goal pitch.
You had a proper me moment there.
like
It's just like my brain stopped working for a
Sometimes
sec.
you just got to be literal with it.
Yeah.
Everyone saw the heat map of where he scored his goals from. It's a line down the centre of the pitch.
Yeah.
The centre of the goal. You know where he wants to be. You know where they want to get the ball to him. And we have
That's
to stop
important, isn't it? Because that's a criticism we've got at United. We're not getting the ball to Sesko enough, perhaps, or in the past there's been that criticism. They know what they need to do, don't they, Leeds? It's like, right, he's on fire, get the ball to him.
100%.
That's your tactic, and it works.
And he's decent. And United have got to stop him. And those little movements in the box, we struggle with that. We struggle with, thinking back to the goals against Aston Villa. It was a cut inside. We didn't track the man very well. We didn't track the man very well against Everton when Dewsbury Hall hit that one from the edge of the box. I know these aren't down the centre of the pitch.
No, I get it.
But it's not being close enough to your man. And then even that second goal against Villa, the ball comes in and Watkins gets to the ball just ahead of Aiden Heaven, so it falls back to Roger. Like, his little movements, his running across the face of goal is going to be a real problem if we don't switch on. And that's not just an Aiden Heaven thing. That is a us across the back line thing. You've got to watch your shoulder. You've got to stay with him. You can't just look at him once, look back at the ball because he'll cut in front and he'll score.
Yeah.
So we really have to be on it. And it's the type of striker we don't play against that much in the Premier League anymore. He's not just waiting for the ball to arrive. He's doing those little sort of movements here and there. And that I worry that a little lapse in concentration, which we've been quite prone to, will give him a big chance, and he'll probably score it in the form that he's in.
Yeah, he will, and we know what the crowd is going to be like there as well, and we can't be.
Well, you're going to be there.
I'm going to be there with me, my tin hat on.
Are you excited?
I am excited. It's been 14 years since I last went to Elland Road. I'll tell you how long ago it was. Michael Owen scored for us, and Paul Pogba played for us before he went to Juve.
Wow.
The first time round.
Yeah.
That's how long ago it was. But no, I'm looking forward to it. I just hope that Manchester United turn up. With all that being said then, my friend, give us your score prediction.
I'm going to go with a draw. I'm not hugely confident. In fact, I'm not very confident at all. I think the squad's massively depleted. It's a horrible time to play Leeds. I wish we were playing almost anyone in the league other than them, because it's the least credit for the most pain if we lose.
Yeah.
But I'll take a draw. Again, I know we should be aiming for higher than that, the 16th in the league. But I think where we are right now, a draw wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, so I'm going to go 1-1.
Yeah,
and I hope for more, obviously. But
no, listen, it's predicted, not preferred. You don't want us to draw. I think it's fair enough to say a team that we've struggled this season and they'll be well up for it. I know we say a lot of clubs and a lot of teams, this is their cup final, and sometimes it isn't, sometimes it isn't. We just say it. But for Leeds, it definitely is.
Yeah,
it 100%. This is the game they will be looking forward to the most, at hosting Manchester United. It is going to be tough. They are in a decent bit of form, as we've mentioned, and we aren't. However, I don't know, I just have this weird feeling that sometimes with United, and when people expect us not to win, we just tend to win. Like, it was the same against Newcastle, and it's the same against Wolves away.
Yeah, Chelsea.
We're not going to win.
Palace away,
and
Liverpool away.
Yeah, and then we do.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not saying that happens all the time, because there's games where you probably think we will win or whatever, where we don't, but yeah, I just feel like most people I speak to don't expect to win, and that's what makes me think we'll get one. And that's not based on anything other than, just a feeling. So I'm going to go 2-1 United. And absolutely snap you on off for any form of victory at Elland Road. I don't even care about the performances, what a win. That'd be amazing. Joe, always a pleasure, never a chore.
Thank you very much.
Go and check out Joseph on the Sloppy Joes podcast. And don't forget as well to check him out on the watch along. Don't forget to send your pre-match prediction videos for the score to paddockmatchday@gmail.com. 30-second videos, and we'll use that as part of our pre-match build-up. And for the watch along, you've got McCullough with you, haven't you?
Me, McCullough, yeah.
Yeah, McCullough and a special guest as well.
That'd be lovely.
So make sure you're hitting like, share and subscribe. Go and check out our merchandise as well. There's a link in the description for that. That's been Joe Smith. I'm Jay Moy. This has been a preview. Manchester United trip to Elland Road against Leeds United in the Premier League. Thanks for watching.